Hello everyone, I'm Colin Kinnett. I'm pretty excited today because I'm finally getting around to building an outfeed table that attaches to my table saw and it flips down. There's no feet involved, it's super simple and it's really rugged, so you're going to want to check this out. So before we get started, let me show you what I've been dealing with here with this table saw for outfeed tables. First of all, I had this roller stand and it worked okay, but you know what? My floor is uneven here. So I had to abandon this just because it moves around too much. I use it for other things, but not for the table saw. Then I found one of these. I got this at I think a garage sale. This thing works great. They're for the construction industry, but when you align them to the table saw top, they actually pivot, so when you go along they actually sort of grab the wood and they pivot on. I really like this. This works really well for me. But what I want to do, because I'm a klutz and I know that I'm going to kick a leg if I have a leg. You know, I could put a leg down here with a board on it like that. Lots of people have that, have tables here. I don't have enough room for a table, so I need something that's portable. The other thing I've seen is a variety of mechanisms where you can make a slide, where there's kind of a leg here that you can slide up and down. Here's what I found. This is just amazing. I've done a lot of looking and I finally found an excellent bracket. Check this bracket out. Now, this isn't just a bracket. The way this works, I will attach that on some uprights that I'm going to put on here, and it will actually flip up. But look at the way this works. What you do, there's a little pivot thing here at the bottom, so I can push up on that pivot thing. So I have to lift up a little bit on this, pull this pivot thing, but look at it, the whole thing just folds right down, and it's a really rugged, a really heavy duty and expensive, I might add. But you know, for me, it's going to work perfect for an outfeed table because when I'm not using it, I can just allow it to drop down. When I need it, all I have to do is lift it up, and it'll be all ready to go, just like that, simple and easy. So let's get started cutting some wood here. Now I've already cut some uprights and I've actually had some 2-inch oak, and that's what I'm going to use because it's nice and hard, and I'm going to fasten that to the side of my table with some metal screws, some self-tapping screws, and I've used them before. They should work perfect for that. What I don't have yet is I need to cut the plywood, so I'm going to have to dig out for the last time my little stand and run that plywood through. Now I've just made sort of a mock-up here so that I can see where the outfeed table is going to want to sit when it's parallel on the table, because what I need to do now is I need to put these uprights on here, but what I need to do is, because there's holes in the bracket here, I need to make sure that the holes aren't going to interfere with the holes that I need to drill in the wood. So I'm just going to mark the holes because now I know exactly where that's going to sit. Now the reason I have to have a board so thick and that I had to drill such a deep hole in, I have to make sure that this bracket is on the outside of this part of the table saw here. So that's why that board is so thick. There it is. Oh, that's nice and solid. Okay, now I just need to make sure that that's aligned. And I'll go ahead and do the next one. And I'm just going to carry on and do these. I'm not going to make you sit through all of these because now you've seen what the process looks like. Now I don't have any easy way of setting this up So what I'm going to do, I don't want this Outfeed table to be exactly the same length as my table saw table. I want it to be slightly lower, and if I do want to raise it, I want to have the ability to just put some shims under. So I'm going to use a shim to drop my angle down just a tiny bit, and what I'm going to do is just drill a pilot hole for that when that snugs up right there, and then that'll be able to position it for me. There we go. There, that's perfect. Okay, let's take a moment and put that on. Oh, that's going to be so great. That's going to work out just perfectly. Now, I just want to make sure that that fence is going to clear that. It should clear that without any problem. Oh, I see my foot is just barely bumping against that. Well, I've had another really good look at this, and it's such a minuscule amount. And I wasn't going to have the table touching, the Outfeed table touching this anyway. And it turns out it's like about might be an eighth of an inch. It's just barely going to be touching it. So I'm just going to move the table out just a fraction more, and that will clear that little foot. But before I attach it, the one thing I do want to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of a bevel on here. I'm going to use my trim router and just round the very front of that over a little bit, just so that I make sure that I don't ever get wood catching on that. Now, before I round off the front side, I'm actually going to round off all of the edges so that there's no sharp edges here. But I'm also going to take a bit of a curve on this. So I'm going to take that off with my jigsaw, and then I'll just soften it up with my belt sander, and then I can do all of the roundovers. Well, now it's time to fasten the top down. There's no easy way of doing this. You just got to crawl underneath and do it. Well, I couldn't be happier with this modification. This is just brilliant. I can move around here. My dolly can get in close here on my camera. I don't have to worry about kicking a leg out. I don't have to get on my hands and knees to work on a movable arm underneath here. I just need to lift it up. There's a couple of catches on these, and that's it. And to activate it, it's that easy. What a brilliant Outfeed table. I just love that. That was worth the wait. Well, I decided before I even started to install this that I wasn't going to do anything with the top on this. I was just going to leave this as bare plywood, and I could change this board at any time. I also left enough room in here that if I decide later on that I want to put a plastic laminate or an arborite on top of that, I can do that. But in the meantime, I just want to see how this wears. I don't want something that's going to be too slippery out there. So I just want to work with this and try this and see how this works. And if I want to put something on later on, I can do that. Well, that concludes my video for today. Building the outfeed table for my table saw, and of course there'll be an article on Woodwork Web, and I'll have a link to where I got the hardware from. It's quite hard to find. I've only found it at one place, so I'll put the link on there for you. You'll be able to check that out in case you want to do something similar in your workshop. I'm Colin Canet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.